What is going on, everybody? What a beautiful, rainy victory Monday here in the Philadelphia area. Welcome back to the Phaithful Phanatics Show. I'm one half your host, Dylan Davis. To my right, my faithful co-host, Scotty. Guys, we are live to you, as always, on the DSM-Media Philadelphia YouTube and Twitter channel. So if you are new to the channel, make sure to do us a favor. First and foremost, make sure to follow us across all social media platforms. Most specifically, check out that Twitter page. It is the best spot to be interactive with us throughout each and every day. Check out the link tree in our bio. It will take you directly to the YouTube channel, which is the best and only spot to get your thoughts, comments, and questions pulled up here on the screen with us like so. So if you want to be interactive, drop your comments, drop your thoughts, hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you. All that talk, all that goddamn talk all week long, and for what, Scotty? All those concerns, all those question marks, for what? We're going to talk about Jalen Hurts in the passing game in this 27-13 victory. Birds win a franchise record, 10th straight game. Things are rolling, man. 3 weeks left to the playoffs. The Lions also lose yesterday to the Bills. Both teams now 12-2, fighting for that one seed with the Minnesota Vikings as well in the NFC North. A lot to talk about, man, but what a game. What an absolute game for the Birds and Jalen Hurts yesterday.
Yeah, man. Shout out to HB because the Jalenites slogan came out yesterday. Brian Pumper, he had some things to throw out on the pregame show yesterday. So yeah, today is the day where we do get to glaze up number one. We get to glaze him up today. We get to put him right out there, fresh and hot donut on the market, man, because my man balled out yesterday. There's nothing Brian could come on here and say today. I can't wait to see him in the comments. I hope he's out there. And it's all love. We're all Eagles fans. The reason I'm looking for him is because we gotta call people out when they say some things, man. Just like people call us out when I come on here and pander to the Sixers and I say all this about how they're gonna turn out. Hey, we gotta face what we say and what we accuse. And here we are on this fine Monday, man. But the Jalenites, Brian Pumper threw that one out on the show yesterday, and I thought that one was pretty hilarious just because it does fit. It's okay to stand a little bit on your own team, man.
Okay. It's okay, but I did hear from Scotty because I was either in the lot or on my way down to the lots yesterday. My apologies for missing again. But I did hear from Scotty that Brian himself was saying we will only lose this game because of Jalen. So the question I want to throw out to start the show is, did we win because of Jalen? Do only the losses count towards Jalen? What am I going to hear? That the wins, where'd Scotty go? What am I going to hear? That the O-line was spectacular and that Kenneth Gainwell was a star and that the defense is best in the NFL? All those things were true yesterday. But what was also true is that Jalen Hurts took in everything. A.J. Brown took in everything. Devontae Smith, Nick Sirianni, Kellen Moore, they took in everything. They had some closed-door meetings last week with all the noise surrounding, all the drama surrounding this team that was on a 9-game winning streak, and what else can get in their way this season on their road to hopefully their second Lombardi in franchise history. And they put those things to bed. And not only did Jalen Hurts go out there and ball out. Not only did he start the game 9 for 9, not only did Smitty and AJ both go for 100+ with a touchdown each, not only did Jalen finish with like 290 and like 127 quarterback rating, Scotty, not only all of those things are true, but he did it against one of the best defenses in the National Football League. He did it against TJ Watt with Lane Johnson out there on an island. He did it against Cam Hayward. He did it against Joey Porter Jr. He did it against Alex Highsmith. He did it against that defense. And he did it in a game that Saquon Barkley got slowed down. I agree, Chris. Because it's not like Jalen was just feeding off of Saquon, which there's nothing wrong with that. That's it. That's a perfect day for us. If Saquon's going off and Jalen looks like a star, that's a perfect day in Eagles land, Scotty. But I think a thing to take forward as well, not only was it a great passing game for the offense and for Jalen, Saquon, what, 19 carries, 65 yards, under 4 yards per carry. Something was wrong. I know I saw the videos later that Nick said there was no injury to report. There was nothing. Clearly, something was going on with Saquon Barkley a little bit yesterday. And Jalen Hurts went out there and played one hell of a fucking football game.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, man. Watching it from home, I personally didn't think there was anything going on with Saquon. It looked honestly pretty normal to me. And like he on the one play, he got banged and kind of got like lopsided or flipped over, like got hit in the leg. But he came out after that, and I think they were just being a little cautious with him.
Okay,
but
I hope so.
During the broadcast, man, and maybe this is why I'm a little misconstrued, is because during the broadcast they kept talking about it, like where's Saquon, and it was just on the last drive of the half that he was really missing. On the drive before that, I think was when the tumble happened, or maybe they even went 3 and out and then got the ball back. Maybe he missed a drive 3 and out.
He did.
Well, and then we get the ball back, and then he didn't come in for that last drive of the half, but. We know that he doesn't play in the last 2 minutes. That is Gainwell's role, especially in the first half of games. We know that they conserve Saquon in the first half. So
correct.
I don't know. I didn't see much.
He also had some runs in the second half.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how many did he have in the second half?
I don't know about like total, but like he didn't have like the 70-yard pop off bury you type of run. But he wore them down. There was a 7-yard run and a 6-yard run, and it mixed in there where it's like, okay, there you go. And then just to give him his flowers, man. Kenneth Gainwell was a stud yesterday. First of all, made about 8 different dudes miss at one point in a blender. But I think that's another thing, man. Look, we're going to talk a lot about Jalen Hurts and the passing attack throughout today's show. But not only did they have a good day like that when Saquon wasn't at his most dominant, right? But the Eagles still rushed for 130 yards as a team against that Pittsburgh Steelers defense.
Yeah.
It wasn't Saquon Barkley going for 180. It was Saquon Barkley with 65. It was Jalen Hurts with 45. It was Kenneth Gainwell with 20 plus. It was nice to see them go somewhere else when needed. You know what I mean? Like to have that in your pocket is nice to know.
Yeah, and I think over the next couple of weeks, man, you don't want to go into the postseason just running Saquon into the ground.
Right.
It's time to start exploring these other options to try to win games. That's the thing. You come out of
now with these 3 opponents.
That's the best feeling coming out of this game, bro. Obviously, you got the Commanders coming up. You're going to DC. We'll obviously talk about that as the week goes on. It's a tough matchup. I'm not going to take anything away from them. But this was the gauntlet. Like that section we just got out of was the gauntlet. You got out of there clean. You got out of there semi-healthy. I know we lost Goddard. There's a couple linemen banged up. We'll see what's going on with Landon Dickerson after last night.
Yeah.
But man, you get out of this. There's no more tests. You just go out now. There are no more tests. And maybe there were no more tests to your point last week after the Ravens, right? Like maybe that was the test on the road against a physical identity team like that, right? But this Steelers team is like, you talk about bulliness, right? Bullying. Like we are the biggest bully in the NFL. We are.
I wanted to throw this out to you, man.
In the NFL.
In theory, the Ravens are better than the Steelers, right? Like I know the Steelers beat the Ravens once this year. They're going to play again, I believe. Lamar Jackson, MVP, Super Bowl aspirations coming in the year. In theory, the Ravens are the better football team, right? More explosive, Derrick Henry and Lamar, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So I know going into Baltimore, getting down early, 9-0 to start that game, I know winning that game is the best win on their resume. But this was their most dominant and impressive to me. Because this is a damn good Pittsburgh Steelers team.
Yeah.
A damn good Pittsburgh Steelers team. If they win yesterday, they clinched the AFC North with 3 weeks remaining. This is a top 3 or 4 defense in the world. Russell Wilson, outside of the Cleveland game in the snow, has been phenomenal with this offense. Now, I know there was no George Pickens, and that definitely limited them. But this is a very good Steelers team, and they were never in the game. Like, I know it was a 4-point game at halftime. They were never in the fucking game.
Whether that's perceived as a good thing or a bad thing, you have 2 fumbles back-to-back in the first quarter. that gives them their first points of the game, right? Their first 3. They needed 2 fumbles in a row to get 3.
Oh, I'm going to get
good this defense.
We're going to talk about this defense, brother.
Golly,
but
man.
Is it like there was it most dominant possibly? Like you held the Steelers 13 points, the offense just man. And when I say dominant, and you mentioned the word bully, right? Bully the bully, like we did in Baltimore, and you did that, and you did this past week in the trenches, running the game. You stopped the run, everything you want to see come January and in playoff football. But dude, let's talk about that second half. They touched the ball 2 times. 24 minutes of 30 total minutes of second half football belong to the Philadelphia Eagles offense. They ended the game with 10 plus minutes left.
Brother. And the class example of polar opposite that you got to see on Sunday Night Football of the Green Bay Packers, they win that game last night, fine. Like they blew them out last night. They took care of business, don't get me wrong. But in that fourth quarter, you got Jordan Love coming out on first down, throwing the ball down the field, and they're up 20 points. Go out there and run the clock out. You have Josh Jacobs. All you need to do is run the ball first and second down and make the key throw on third down, keep the drive alive and keep it going. And that's just something like I point that out not to dismiss Green Bay. In a sense it does, but it's more to just say how damn good the Eagles are, man, on these half-ending drives, right? It's not just the end of games. No. It's at the end of halves. At the end of the second quarter, they come out, they run the clock out. But this was class, man, at the end of this game. That last drive specifically that took
10 and a half minutes.
Mike Tomlin, he decided to punt on 4th and 6 or something.
Yeah.
Near the 50-yard line and never got the ball back. That's what's scary. That's what makes the team scary. Is not being able to get the fucking ball.
Right. Because here's the thing.
Even score it, it doesn't matter.
Not that a 14-point game with almost an entire quarter left is some insurmountable, deficit, right? But imagine if that was a 1-possession game. Because then it makes sense to punt, right? It makes sense there. You don't want to give the Eagles good. Imagine a 1-possession game, and things change because the circumstances change. I get that. I'm just, making up a situation, but imagine instead of 14, that is a 6 or 7-point game. You punt the ball with 10 plus minutes left, and your offense doesn't get a fucking chance to see the field again and try to tie or win the game.
Yeah.
That's what this team did. It was the entire second half. The field goal, just everything about what they did bullied the bully. And I think that is something else, man, that needs to be talked about. Because if you want to see the difference between this team and last year's team, go ahead and watch the pregame of the 49ers coming to Philadelphia last year, and then watch what the defense did after Darius Slay got bullied into the fucking crowd like it was Michael Oher in The Blind Side. I know that sounds stupid. There is a toughness. There is a toughness to this team. A camaraderie, a physicality, a togetherness. He got bullied because a bigger fat tight end, whoever it was, took him from the 15 into the crowd, essentially, past the whistle, past everything. And Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and Quinyon Mitchell comes over and slaps someone in the fucking mouth. Everything.
Darius Slay even. After
keep going.
He's fiery. He's going after the dude. Like, I love seeing that from Slay, man. Man, I see Chaos Chris's comment, and I do agree. At the end of the day, the Jalen Carter thing,
situationally, yes,
idiotic. But it does feed into the identity that this team is moving with right now. The physicality that they play with. Emotions are going to get high when you got
you have to be smarter
head to head. You
got to be smarter.
You have to be smarter. But I saw people kind of going in on Jalen Carter.
Yeah.
Nip it in the bud. Make sure it doesn't happen again. But I think you live with that in this situation where it didn't bite you in the ass in this game. And you are seeing this defense play at another level. Like Nolan Smith is out there jumping over guys and talking shit to Russell Wilson after he rocks him. Like these guys
on the year, 5.5 sacks now for Nolan Smith.
Yeah, he had.
I think I saw a stat later last night that I think we had 8 pressures or 8 quarterback, whatever it was, and Nolan Smith accounted for 4 of them.
He had a monster game yesterday.
Monster. By the way, the entire defense had a monster game. So let's talk about this as well, man, because if we're being honest, even though it never felt like the Steelers were in the ball game, Jalen fumbles in our own territory. We get a stop. They punt. Cooper DeJean, 2 fumbles in about 65 seconds for this Eagles team, one of which put the Pittsburgh Steelers at like the 11-yard line. And they came away with 3 total points. 3. Vic Fangio's defense, this unit, dude, the way they fly to the ball, the way the linebackers are all over the place, the way that these guys are able to get pressures. There's no more, Jalen Carter's a big name, right? Top 10 pick 2 years ago. He's our guy. He's our stud, right? But there's no more big names. There's no more Fletcher Cox. There's no more Hassan Reddick. They're not here. There's no more, oh my God, why am I drawing a blank? Javon Hargrave, 10.5, 11. There's no more of that. This is Nolan Smith. This is Milton Williams. This is Josh Sweat. This is Jordan Davis. The way they're able to get pressure, then the next level with the linebackers are all over the place. They don't miss tackles, as Deshae was saying. And then the secondary, like Cooper on the special teams play, fumbles, makes a mistake. Did you see Cooper DeJean make a mistake again in that game? No. Quinyon Mitchell, did they throw his way? No.
Reed Blankenship looked good coming back from injury.
With the most ridiculous 15-yard penalty called on him yesterday, by the way.
That was just such
15-yard penalty called on Reed Blankenship for that. But then A.J. Brown's season was a millimeter away from being fucking ended in garbage time last night, because that is the definition of the goddamn hip drop tackle that they want out of the game. Everything that is wrong with that tackle happened.
Yeah.
Where he wrapped him up at, the way he dropped his weight, and where he landed on AJ's back legs and ankles. That is the very definition of why they want that out of the game. Nothing called, but because Justin Fields slides half a second before Reed Blankenship makes contact with him, there's a penalty thrown. There's a flag thrown on Reed Blankenship. So I just had to throw that out. Those 2 plays individually were ridiculous. But this defense, Scotty, I know we've been saying it for weeks. I don't know that we've been saying it. Well, we have, but we've been almost questioning it. Are they the best? Is this team the best defense in football? It seems like they're the best defense in football. They're the best defense in football.
Yeah. Where I'm at right now, why I just said I think is because I think my reasoning of why the defense is the best has maybe shifted a little bit. Okay. Overall, they're the best because they're the most balanced. And I think that's the difference between previous seasons and what we see now. It was always focused on that front 4. We say front 7, but it was always really the front 4, front 5 on that defensive line that was the focus of an offseason to improve. And that's what our defense relied on. We have all 3 levels now. And I think the craziest part right now, Dylan, is that the linebackers might be playing the best on the entire fucking team. I might be sizing it a little bit. I might be glazing the linebackers a little bit, but Nakobe Dean is playing out of his mind.
Bro.
Zach Bond is playing out of his mind. Even that catch that Zach Bond gave up down the field, he's there.
That's what
he's there.
The only time either of those 2 are making a mistake is if they get caught in a zone and a slot receiver is their responsibility. They're not fast enough to keep up with them. And now that's a one-off. There's no missed tackles. There's no, miscommunications, no missed assignments. They're hard hitting. They're perfect in between to be the connectors between the secondary and the defensive line.
Yeah. I think they're controlling the game right now, especially when you talk about run defense, man. That's the number 9 rush offense in the NFL. I know Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren, they aren't the most fearsome duo in the NFL, but they can run the football. Yeah. They're a physical unit. They move the ball, and they were not able to get the run going at all. You saw even CGJ coming in and getting in the backfield. It blows my mind when I see the shit happening, but this is exactly what I missed from that dude. But the linebackers, man, Nolan and Zach Bond, it's a revelation. And can we lobby for Vic Fangio to win Coach of the Year? Can a coordinator win Coach of the Year? Because this is amazing. Even more than the passing offense this week, I think, it's just the revelation of the offenses that we have played with this defense and what they have produced. It's just amazing, man. It's a complete like 360 from what we saw last year. Complete 360.
Scotty, I'd take it a step further. It's a complete 360 in recent memory. Like I don't know how many years I have to go back.
Or maybe it's a 180. Maybe it's a 180.
Yeah.
360 is a full turn. Yeah.
We're different is what we're trying to say. So we're a 180. Yeah. It's a complete 180 in recent memory, because I said this to you before. You go back to 2017. Like, yeah, that defense had a lot of names, and that defense was really good, and they were blowing teams out in the regular season, and Carson Wentz was the MVP, and we were putting 50 burgers up on the Broncos and doing dances with turnovers and everything. They didn't force a punt in the biggest moment. 2022, 70-plus sacks as a team, leading the NFL, breaking records. Hassan Reddick's a monster. Didn't force a punt in the biggest game. Now, we're not in the biggest game. I know that. Like, things can change. I'm just not seeing any holes, right? There's no undersized Jalen Mills on the outside. There's no Ronald Darby on the outside.
Yeah.
I'm not picking up on any of red flags, I guess. Like red flags we've seen in the past, like, oh, that could hurt them come playoff time, come Super Bowl. And I'm not getting that. By the way, like, I wasn't home yet, but I'm seeing clips. Did Dan Campbell do something stupid last night?
He did an onside kick. I can't remember the exact circumstances, but
I just read that there was like 10 minutes left or 12 minutes.
Something he did an onside kick. They were only down by maybe 10, maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong.
And I bring that up in the perfect timing with D-Rab's comment, because it's not. You mentioned Coach of the Year. Nick's not going to win Coach of the Year, nor should he. Like, just because they look dominant over the last 5 weeks, I'm not totally absolving him from taking 9 points off the board against Jacksonville. I'm not taking away from what he did in New Orleans and against Atlanta and everything. Like, Nick is far from perfect, but I think over the course of this season, he has kind of started to figure out that CEO type of role that we were, asking, what does he do? Was he just a leader of men? But I think he's perfectly kind of starting to figure it out.
Yeah.
And
I think, I get what you mean, because it's not that, Nick Sirianni is now like the best coach in Philadelphia Eagles history. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't go from that extreme at the beginning of the season to this now. But I do think you just brought up Dan Campbell, man. Like, if Dan Campbell's getting consideration, then why shouldn't Nick Sirianni, especially some of the decisions that Dan Campbell's made? Even the last 2 weeks, the week before, it didn't kill them, right? They won the game, but it was still a wild decision. And this week, the wild decision, the aggressiveness comes back to bite. And you've even seen Sirianni, we talk about it, man. He's tempered it down a little bit. He doesn't go for it on fourth down every time. He punted yesterday. He kicked a field goal, like 4th and 3 yesterday. Like, he's
got some confidence back into his kicker.
It's huge. You needed to do that for it.
This was weird. I wasn't paying attention, but like I see all the clips this morning. Definitely odd, but it's going to be another news story for people to run with, and how the head coach doesn't have
It's
control.
nothing, bro.
I agree.
There's a thing when you play football, when you play sports, there's coaches that understand their players. Is it Clint Hunt? He understands his defensive line more than Nick Sirianni understands. He understands and knows Jalen Carter better than Nick Sirianni does. And I understand this from experience.
There's optics to it.
I'm somebody with a temper, bro. Like, I have a bad temper. When I played sports, I get fired up. I do dumb shit like Jalen Carter. That's why I can resonate with some of the errors and mistakes that are made in those moments. I come from experience with it. There's certain coaches. I know for me in high school, defensive coordinator was the only guy that I'm going to listen to when I'm up here. He was the only guy. His name was Coach Lawrence. He comes to me, he gets me in my face, he gets on a level with me, and that's where I can listen, that's where I can focus. And I think I'm just using my eyeballs and my experience. I think that's what Clint Hunt was doing yesterday. I don't think the message is going to be received right coming from Nick Sirianni.
I think to Martian's point,
whatever reason that may be,
right? If I'm the head coach of a football team, I'm going to talk to whoever I want to talk to when I want to speak to them. But to that assistant coach's point, it looks disrespectful. In reality, he's doing Nick and Jalen a fit. Like, I don't think he was stepping in and being like, walk the fuck away, blah, 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 like, get the fuck out of here. I think it was,
we've seen Sirianni in Carter's face in the past. And we've seen how that looks even worse than what that looked like last night. Right. And I'm not saying that Carter's in the right for this. It's just managing a situation. Carter does need corrected off the field, out of the cameras today. He needs corrected today. But I think in that moment, just managing an escalated situation, take it with a grain of salt, man.
Correct. And especially because, like you said, hindsight's 2020. It didn't bite them. They were up by 14 points at the time. It didn't bite them. Now, if that's in a critical moment and he does some shit like that in January, we're going to be freaking the fuck out. But
different discussion.
There was definitely some things boiling over too, like from the fight earlier in the game. Like at whatever point, he was just like.
I saw Hayward, Hayward's brother. You know Cam Hayward on the defense line.
He plays for the Steelers too.
Plays tight end. And I saw he was doing some stuff after the whistle towards the end of the game. I can't remember who that was with. But it's a physical game, man. These guys are out there talking shit. They're going head to head, like smashing mouths. Like it's going to get escalated out there. To your point, I'm just glad it didn't cost us in this game because it would be a completely different discussion. And like you said,
Russell Wilson for the first time too, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's actually crazy. Because I saw his interview going into the game talking about how he loves playing in Philly and the fans are different, but he loves it. And wonder if he loves it now, man, because he was getting rocked out there. But let's talk some Hurts, man.
Who's that guy?
Some passing offense.
Who's that guy? Oh, the guy that threw for 290 yesterday?
290.
Is that him?
300 yards.
Is that him? 25
we give him 300 or is it not?
Close enough. Both wide receivers, 100 plus, both star wide receivers, 100 plus. Both scored.
Using the middle of the field.
Made someone look absolutely stupid with his legs in the middle of the field at one point later on in the game.
Run of the day too.
Getting fired up. Him and AJ making a point. Because you could see it, dude. Once AJ caught the ball, he kind of like looked towards the crowd. And I think he thought for like a second, like he was going to do a celebration or go talk some shit. And then he was like, he just beelined it straight for Jalen, to make this a point. And it's just, it's basically one of these. Because again, we talked about it last week. I don't give a fuck if they're best friends anymore. I don't care if they like each other. But if you two can put that aside, and maybe they are still best friends, I don't know. But what I'm saying is none of that matters to me. Whatever it is, good or bad, put it aside and go play like that. And if you do that, no one in the city is going to give two shits about your personal relationship together. And that's exactly what they did, dude. They got A.J. Brown the ball early and often. And I love this, Scotty, because it's what we've been asking Nick and Kellen and Jalen to do, right? How'd they get A.J. Brown the ball? I believe it was his first catch on the first drive. Slant, quick hitter, get him out in space, let him do things with the ball. And they did it over and over and over again. What did Smitty have? Double-digit receptions. AJ had 8, 9 receptions. Yeah. Both making plays after that quick hitters. Yes, the deep ball will come. That's always going to be something in Jalen's back pocket because he throws one of the best deep balls in the league. But you got to start to take what defenses are giving you. And I watched someone, I forget who it was, some former defensive player earlier this week, talking about how, over the last couple of games, when the passing game's been struggling, he only targeted AJ so and so many times, and only so many times of those little times were shots down the field. And then they showed film of how they're playing kind of safety help, corner 10 yards off of AJ. You're not getting those opportunities, and we kept forcing it. Stop. Because as awesome as it is when you can hit AJ Brown down the sideline for 40 yards, you know what's just as exciting? Getting the ball to him 8 yards off the line of scrimmage and letting guys try to tackle him. Because it's hard to do. Just like it's hard to bring Jalen down and bring Saquon down. And they got A.J. Brown the ball early. I think Jalen started what? 9 for 9, Scotty? Is that correct? I believe so.
Yeah, 10th throw was his first missed throw. Yeah.
Probably came in the second quarter or something.
I'm trying to think who that was to.
I don't know. But that guy seemed like he played pretty well yesterday.
Yeah. And I think it's funny, man, that they can just come out and do it. I think that makes it even better is that the whole city, it wasn't even just Philadelphia. It was the entire
Everybody.
It was the NFL community.
Everybody.
It was the NFL community questioning whether the Eagles could throw the football with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. And they just come out and they laugh in your face. And it's so hilarious, honestly. It's just fun to watch them come out and just simply be like, I told you so. And I think it was, like I said, this was like the last test. It wasn't the test before that, but it was just it was like extra credit, if that makes sense, on the test. You pass the test by beating the Steelers, but you get extra credit if you throw the ball at will against them. So, and that was the thing. The Steelers came out. They said, we're not going to let Saquon beat us today. It's got to be Hurts. We heard the talk all week. We want to see if Hurts can throw the ball too. He came out, made the right decisions. He was quick with his decisions. Got a little foggy in the second quarter towards the end of the half.
There were maybe
TJ Watt was having a moment as well. So I think we have to take that into consideration.
There were maybe 2 times where Jalen, there was like an extra little pat on the ball when he stayed in the pocket.
Also, not a broken finger on his non-throwing hand. So that's something to take into account. But there was one play where he got sacked, by the way. I'm just thinking of, hands and holding on to the football. TJ Watt comes from behind, blindsides this man.
Oh, when he didn't drop it?
He just holds the ball like this with his throwing hand, like as he goes to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, not trying to commend him in any sort of way.
Because he fumbled like 2 possessions earlier. Like, I get it, but
that's crazy, though. It should have fumbled again, honestly.
Yeah.
That was a master class by Jalen, even with the few mistakes mixed in there. You talked about the big run in the second half. It was the longest run by an Eagle in the day, right? And that just gets me even more fired up, even more than like a big throw, man. When I see him use his legs and he starts to look like young Jalen again, spry and quick and moving around defenders. It was impressive, man. It was impressive. Even though I knew that he could do it, it's still impressive to see it and see it at will when everybody's begging for it. The spotlight's on it.
And
you just come out
and
you execute.
You did it against that defense.
Yeah.
A defensive-minded head coach, Super Bowl champion, one of the best head coaches of all time, Mike Tomlin. You did it against that team in that moment when all eyes are on you, when the entire world is talking about you and this passing attack and the drama, and that's what's going to be the one thing to hold this team back. And that's what it is for me, man. I texted you late last night just thinking about, this team and getting back to a Super Bowl, and it's like they just keep doing it in another way.
Yeah.
And they're not just doing it in another way and they're escaping, right? They're showing you different sides of them. We can win. We can muck things up. We can, win ugly. We can do this. No. They will punish you on the ground.
Yeah.
They have the ability to throw for 400 yards if they want to. Their defense can hold you to 3 points after gifting you 2 possessions inside the 15, 20-yard line. They didn't just beat the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday.
They dog walked them.
Dog walked them. That is a 10-win, tough, physical Pittsburgh Steelers team. Dog walked them.
Yeah.
This is the best team in the National Football League. Because I said this to you earlier about the defense. We've been saying it, and we believe it. I think most of our mind and most of our hearts believe it when we say it. But there's always something in the back of your mind that questions or just plays out the negative, right? Is this the best defense in the league? Is this the best rushing attack in the league? Is this the most balanced team in the league? Is this the best team in the league? No, Scotty, that's over. Because it should have been over after Baltimore. They hit a little bit of a skid against the bad Panthers team, and then you got this test, the final test like you were talking about. And again, you fucking aced it, and you aced it in a different way, and you aced it in every facet of the game. This is the best team in the league. And I don't want to say anything I can't walk back. I'm not sure that I'm not saying they can't lose. Like, I'm not saying they're not going to lose another game. I'm not saying they're just going to coast to a Super Bowl win. I'm not saying the Lions can't beat the Eagles. The Bills can't beat the Eagles. I'm not saying any of that. I'm not sure it's close that there's another team on their level because of how balanced and complete they are. I'm watching the Detroit Lions give up how many points to the Buffalo Bills last night?
40 plus.
40 plus. After we just talked about their defense giving up how many points in the second half to the Packers and almost losing that game?
20
and
plus.
all the injuries and everything to them, right? The Bills. Now, that's a hell of a win from the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen, does he just keep wrapping up the MVP? I don't know. But the week before that, I watched this Bills defense give up how many points to the same Rams team that we absolutely stuffed the fuck out of a few weeks ago? See, there's just there's no team as balanced, as complete as them in every facet. So when I say it's not close, I don't mean that there's not other great teams that can and will beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm just saying there's no other team that's doing what the Eagles are doing right now.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you, man. And yeah, it's what I wrote down here. It's exactly what you said. They are the most complete team in the NFL, which in return makes them the best team in the NFL. They're the most physical team in the NFL. They're the biggest bully in the NFL. They present the most fear when you have to come up and play this team, no matter where you have to play them in the NFL. I said it on my sheet here. I'll read it for you word for word. Tests are over. Stay healthy and execute. That's it. That's all you have to do to win the Super Bowl now. Because you've passed all the competency tests or the talent tests. Like, you're talented enough. Boom. We knew that coming into the season. But it's on paper. It's statistically measured now. You are talented enough to win the Super Bowl. So just stay healthy. Go out here and execute the rest of this season. And we're going to see some magic, man. I am with you. I mean, just looking at the offensive line yesterday, because you're talking about dog walking the Pittsburgh Steelers, Landon Dickerson was out for basically a half, man. Like, Tyler Steen was in there. He got 2 holding calls. He did get those. But aside from that, did not notice him against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Mekhi Becton goes out for a series. And then Lane Johnson has to come out for a couple snaps. It doesn't matter. The offensive line is a machine. Jason Kelce retired, remember? Like Hall of Fame, Jason Kelce retired. Yeah. And Cam Jurgens is just chugging it along. The tush push doesn't suffer. Everything just moves along like a well-oiled and greased up machine, man. That's what this team is. They are a machine. It's you can try to get in our heads. You can try to like do all the extracurriculars. We can do it. We can do it harder.
Dave walked up to the biggest, baddest kid in each grade and punched him right in the fucking mouth and said, do something about it. And nothing fucking happened.
Yeah.
That's what is happening. Baltimore, nope. Rams, nope. Pittsburgh, nope. Oh, here comes Jaden Daniels. Remember when he was better than Jalen Hurts? Remember, 7 weeks into his career, I would take Jaden Daniels to start my franchise right now. And that's kind of the last talking point I have about Jalen, man. Because the thing is, like, I'm fired up, but this is kind of more so, and even for you, this is like for both of us, this is kind of like I told you so.
There's people out there that said they would take the Jared Goffs of the world over Jalen Hurts. And that's weird.
Yeah. So there's there's no real surprise to me that he had that in his bag. I will say this, and it's not a surprise either, but I think at least I take Jalen's intangibles and composure for granted. And like I know we like to laugh at his quotes, and when you're losing, you really don't want to hear them, right? How there's another opportunity when you wake up in the morning, and you got to water the grass and everything. Like when you're losing, you don't want to hear them. Even when they're winning, it's not that I care for them, right? But for him to look the media in the eyes a couple days ago and say, "I'm at my best in these moments. I'm built for these kind of moments." And then to come out and deliver that performance this very week, like, that's composure, dude. Like, there's nothing else to that. Like,
Donovan McNabb lacked.
Yeah, like all eyeballs on you. Yeah. All that bulletin board material about you. Drama involving you again.
Yeah.
And you came out and fucking slung it all across that defense's face. All afternoon. And he used his legs. He looked quick and dude, he was locked the fuck in. And that's, again, raising the bar, raising the level of this team's ceiling, because when things go and get tough, when it becomes win or go home, when it's the NFC Championship game, when it's the Super Bowl, that guy has the ball in his hands for my team. That's what I trust. And so this team, this defense, this passing attack, Saquon, everything, this team just keeps, that ceiling just keeps getting higher and higher and higher. And to me, they are the best, most complete team in the National Football League. If you weren't bought, if you didn't believe it fully before yesterday afternoon, you can jump on now, because this team's getting back to the game to compete for Lombardi.
Did you happen to see Unk's thumbnail for the nightcap last night?
I saw a tweet this morning. I didn't think it was real on Twitter. It's real?
Yeah, I didn't think it was either. But it said after 10th straight win, and it said something about the Steelers. So it was up to date.
It said like imploding or something.
Imploding.
Like, I forget.
They said imploding.
Hold on. Let me go.
They used that word.
Do you know what's Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco's podcast?
Nightcap, I think. Nightcap. Just one word.
Let's see. Oh, of course, they have a bunch of clips posted. 10 hours ago. Yep. What's wrong in Philly is the thumbnail. Jalen's in the middle. Caption, are the Philadelphia Eagles imploding despite win over Steelers? Whoever created that for them, because it's not like Shannon Sharp or Ocho Cinco is hopping on like you and I do and setting up the stream and everything. Right. Whoever did that should be out of a job today. Because you're making
clickbait. It's
1,000% clickbait, and it's allowed, and they definitely talked about it. I won't give it a listen. I don't give two fucks about what they have to say. If that is your takeaway, I mean, you are talking about two Hall of Famers. You are talking about two of the best at their positions. You are talking about two funny, charismatic. Like, it's fun. They're funny. That is the most asinine take or try to clickbait.
I just don't believe that Ocho Cinco. You know what I mean? He doesn't seem like a guy that would be, that much after the clicks, man. Right. Like chasing after it so much. But the Shavers, we definitely hit on the Kobe Dean. We talked about the linebackers earlier in the show.
He is a dog, though, man. The thing that, what I think has happened with Nakobe Dean, though, Scotty, is because even though 3 years is not a long time, to us it feels like an eternity. It feels like he's been an Eagle for a decade and a half, right? And when he first got here and he was injured and he couldn't see the field and he was struggling in training camp and just getting beaten coverage 2 years ago and last year, it's not right, but you start to give up on the idea of the person, because when he was drafted, how fucking excited were we that Nakobe Dean fell to the third round?
Yeah.
How excited were we, dude? And I think he's either developing, he's definitely still developing, but he is reaching that point of just pillar that you can build around. And that guy we envisioned drafted out of Georgia, this is what we got.
Yeah.
I mean, and then you just throw Zach Bond, and they're just like the perfect tandem somehow. Zach Bond and Nakobe Dean. Say those names before the season starts and tell me you're feeling confident about those two at the linebacker position.
Right. No, I was very uncertain, obviously. You come out of last season with Zach Cunningham and
Nicholas Morrow.
Whoever the other guy was.
Nicholas Morrow.
I always want to say Anthony Morrow, so I don't even say his name anymore because I always get confused.
Yep. We signed Miles Jack, and then he retired and then came out of retirement to play in Pittsburgh. Crazy shit, dude.
Yeah, Brian. This is what I'll say about Brian Pumper. If that's his name, I say that so nonchalant. You guys know who Brian Pumper is.
Yeah.
On the chat, hating on Jalen and hating on Joel Embiid. That's very weak to not show up today. At some point this week, show up and acknowledge this game.
Just leave a comment if you see this tonight. Just drop a comment on the YouTube video. Let us know you're here.
Just let us know.
Because to the point, man, like, we're here. And if things didn't go well yesterday, we're here.
Yeah.
So then it's your opportunity to come on and trash me and say ha ha and throw it in your face. I'm not saying ha ha. And you probably feel pretty good because you're an Eagles fan. But the point is, like, it's a little weird to me. Like Scotty said, you try, and they have flaws, and with everything going on in Sixers world, but like you come on and hate on the stars of this. Like, what's next? You're gonna Bryce Harper's a loser. Like when we get in the Philly season, like you hate on Joel, you hate on Jalen, you probably hate on Bryce. Mitch Cobb's not going to pan. Like I don't know what you like. What if you like all four teams, but you hate on the stars of the city, and it's just like when they play well, when things are going well, just be here. That's it. So nonetheless, Deshae, we appreciate the hell out of you today.
Absolutely.
And if you haven't, I hope you subbed. If you haven't subbed, hit that subscribe button. And if you are anybody else, we got about 30 of you in here right now. And I know you're not all commenting on Twitter and YouTube. So if you're watching on X or on YouTube but not subscribed, make sure to check it out. Make sure to smash that subscribe button, man. But yes, sir. This was, I don't want to say this showed me like that it fat, because we've known it and we've been preaching it and we've been saying how dangerous and how good and how physical this team is. But to once again bully a bully is something we just haven't seen from this team, man. Because I just get flashbacks. I get flashbacks of James Bradbury getting punked as the NFC Championship rematch was taking place last year, and no one doing a goddamn thing about it as they come in and dominate us and snatch our souls, and then we just head down this fucking downward slope into one of the worst crashes in Philadelphia sports history. And then I watch yesterday, and I watch a rookie who's an absolute dog walk up and smack a grown man in the fucking face for trying to punk his teammate. I watched Jalen Carter, who's younger than you and I, literally, I think it was Washington, that Darnell Washington, as soon as Jalen Carter arrives on scene, Darnell Washington ain't got nothing to say anymore.
Yeah.
He starts backing out of that pocket, Scotty. And we're talking about like 23, 24, however old Jalen Carter is. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about these young, absolute studs on this team and on this defense, just having that camaraderie and physicality that you didn't have last year. Appreciate you, man. Scotty's from Maryland.
Chill. I grew up in Maryland. No, that's almost like an inside joke with like my family and friends, because a lot of people will say that I'm from Maryland. I was born in Pennsylvania, went to Maryland in like the third grade, but it's always funny. I always
turned back.
But yeah,
his formative years.
I have Maryland roots.
Where in Maryland?
Hate on that. Appreciate you.
We appreciate you, man. Hit that subscribe button if you can.
Man. There's a ton of Eagles fans in Maryland. Yes, sir. Laurel in the house. I love that. Love that. I was more in Western Maryland, man, so closer to like Frederick County and stuff like that.
Is Laurel in Maryland? Is that a place in Maryland?
Laurel? Yeah.
Oh, okay, because I'm in Mount Laurel, New Jersey. So I was confused. Okay. I was like, how's this motherfucker know where I am right now?
Yeah, Laurel, Maryland, man. I believe there's like a nice casino in that city.
You would know about that.
Maryland in the house. Yeah, we got Birds fans in Maryland, not the purple kind either, man. But yeah, this is what it's about, bro. This is a great time in the season. Obviously 10 straight win. It couldn't be a better time in the season, but this is what it's about. This is what we expected coming into this season. I don't even know if we can say we expected this, like a 15-win season potentially here.
I mean, you're wrapping up within Washington, and then Cooper Rush and whoever's starting for the Giants in the final week.
Yeah.
You're fighting for the 1 seed, so every game, now that the Lions lost in you're like, now it's really, starters are going to be playing in that final week more than likely now. So we definitely didn't expect it, man, because like no one expects a 10-game winning streak. First of all, it's the first time this team has done it ever. And like, I think it's just funny. Like I was thinking about it earlier. It's like, when's this team going to lose? Because heading into this Lions-Bills matchup, what were we saying the other day? Well, the Bills just lost, right? So it's like bounce back. So like, it's like in these other teams, and like when you're gambling, you're looking for trends, and they're coming off a big win. Maybe it's a letdown spot. There's no fucking letdown spot with this team. Their letdown spot was a 6-point win over a bad Carolina Panthers team. That was their letdown spot. Not covering the spread. That was it.
Not covering the spread. Oh, man. It's a good time to be an Eagles fan.
We play Washington.
Commanders.
in Washington next week. And then the Lions are the second best team in the NFC. That's it. They're great. I think their head coach gets way too much appreciation. They just lost David Montgomery. They're down about 19 players. They're down their best.
Hutchinson's coming back.
Yeah. His fucking leg that was 18 different directions. He's playing football this calendar month. I'll believe it when I see it in the playoffs. But they're great. They're obviously a very great team. I think week to week they can be the best team in football.
Yeah.
I'm not taking Dan Campbell and Jared Goff and that defense over the Eagles. And I mean, again, look at what the Bills just did to them. Look at what Josh Allen just did to them. So not only am I not taking the Lions above the Eagles, because remember, and I'm not saying that they weren't considered a top 2 team all year, because they are. But like once upon a team, this is the best team, solidified this offense, Ben Johnson, etc. I'm not taking them over the Eagles. You clearly can't take them over the Bills. The Bills just did it in their house. And then you start to go down the list. If they matched up with Baltimore, what's it look like? So there's a couple teams, man. So they're a very good team. They're a top 5 team. They're probably a top 2 or 3 team still. But too many injuries to overcome. Defense is not nearly good enough, and their head coach will cost them in a big moment, even though everyone thinks ours will. But
yeah, no, I feel you. I do. How you feel about this? Well, I probably know how you feel about the game itself, but how much are you like keeping an eye on the Vikings as well now? Because they're in the same.
Right. It's tough because you would, like, in theory, you go, no, who cares? I mean, there's only 3 games remaining.
Yeah.
There's only 3. And you have this. So the Vikings are very much so in the picture. The good news for us, man, is that race kind of gets shrinked as long as we take care of business on our own, because those 2 teams play each other. Right. So as long as you're the Eagles and you take care of business over the final 3 weeks, which isn't asking a lot because of your competition, but again, for everyone out there, at the same time, is asking a lot considering they're on a 10-game winning streak and not many teams just win 13 straight to end the season, but they should handle business. If you do so, one of the Lions and Vikings will be then out of it because one of those 2 teams is going to lose.
The only thing I'm wondering is it's probably better for the Vikings to beat the Lions for us. Like from the looks of it, at least. We'll see after tonight. They'll probably talk about it and break it down if the Vikings do beat Chicago tonight. But it seems like we have the tiebreaker against Minnesota.
That's what I don't know. I know the Lions have to lose again, and we have to win. Like, we have to finish a game above the Lions. I don't know why that is.
Like, if Minnesota wins out, obviously the Lions would lose another time. Would Minnesota then get the 1 seed?
Right. That's what I don't know.
So I guess that's what we'll get. That'll get broken.
Because then, to your point, whoever wins that game has to lose one of their other 2 games then.
Right.
Which makes it a little bit more difficult, but I don't remember seeing or hearing much about that. So I would assume it's just the Lions.
Does it matter to you as much as long as it's Detroit?
Yeah,
like going to Minnesota versus going to Detroit. You know what I mean? Like,
sure. And that's a fantastic point. You're 1,000% correct.
Yeah.
So no, that's
because if Detroit even played Minnesota, they might.
However, not that it's going to happen tonight, but we're all Bears fans tonight.
Yeah, that makes it easy.
I mean, if the Bears pull out the upset tonight, then all we need is Minnesota to beat Detroit.
Yeah.
In the last 2 weeks, and then we win. And again, the Eagles still have to win out. There's a lot. It's not a lot.
The Niners surprise us against Detroit. I don't know, like something. This season has been nuts. So like nothing's out of the cards. This is wide open right now for my.
So who else? Hold on, before we wrap up, because I know you got to get out of here.
Yeah, what's up?
I know Detroit has Minnesota, San Fran, and then they have one more game besides them. Minnesota has the Bears tonight at Seahawks, Green Bay, Lions. I don't think Minnesota's going 4-0.
Right.
It's even going to be tough for them to go 3-1 with the only win being with the only loss being against the Lions. So there's a lot of different ways that this thing can play out, man. We're going to get up on out of here. Cali Bills, Ryder, Deshay, everybody. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. We're here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on this channel. Also for pregame shows, we're live on this channel. You can interact with us on Twitter at DSM_media. But I just wanted to get your thoughts, man. It's been a long weekend. Didn't talk to you too much. Was out and about. The Sixers season from hell just continues to pluck away at our soul. I'm going to ask you right now, December 16th, is the season over?
No, it's not over. All the enjoyment has been sucked out of it, though. I will say that at this point, it is completely unenjoyable.
I mean,
some of the little light that I was getting out of the Sixers was Jared McCain, so that like really
torn meniscus
really did me in.
Joel finally, that knee starts to respond well after playing 35 minutes, and he's going to play again. Oh, broken face, which again isn't his fault at all. But fucking A, dude.
So is it over? No, luckily the Eastern Conference fucking sucks.
Still, yeah, I know. You're not wrong. It's just it's never stopping, but
it feels over.
Yeah.
It feels over.
And
are we winning a championship? Fuck no.
No. And in the same token, the Phillies haven't done a goddamn thing outside of Jordan Romano, while players keep getting traded. Devin Williams goes to the Yankees for not a lot at all. So let's go Birds, baby. It's all Eagles right now. Jalen Knight's out. Guys, if you're new to the channel, make sure to follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. For myself, for Scotty, for DSM, have a great rest of your Victory Monday. 10th straight. We go for 11 next Monday. Peace out, everybody.
Go Birds.